We are live. Bit of a rush this morning, but we're here. Don't knock the table because it wobbles the screen. Good morning. Welcome to Friday, somewhere in August, probably. It's warm still in the UK. It's bit weird having a summer, really. I think it's a bit of a shock to the system. If you are there, do please say hello in the comments so I can say hello back. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, husband. I can see you're here. Welcome everyone to Friday morning. And you know, the usual kind of chat thing. Good morning, Emma. Hope everyone's having a good day. Well, it's Friday, so hopefully we'll all have a good day. End of the week, beginning of the weekend, nearly. Good morning, Sasha. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Sue. Hello. Good morning, Janet. Good morning. Oh, lots of names pinging up now. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Luna. Got a really annoying hair on my face.
Need a shave?
Do I need a shave? Yeah. Cheeky sod. Good morning.
You're lazy tomorrow.
Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Charlie. Yeah, Peter is here, supposedly working.
I am.
Eric's in the garden, actually, enjoying the sunshine. I'm sure he'll be back at some point. His chair is here with his ratty old blanket on it. Good morning, Sephora. Oh, good evening, Sephora, over on the other side of the planet, which always sounds a bit weird. Good morning, Andrea. Welcome. Yeah, we've had sun, and lots of summer here in the UK. Good morning, Maharet. Which is fine, but you know, Eric's missing going out for his walks quite so much because it's a bit too warm for him. It's too warm for me to sit in the garden. I'd melt. But that's funny. That's a nice lead in because we're talking about weather magic this morning. Hurrah! That was smooth, wasn't it? Sephora's in her PJs. You go. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Kerry. Good morning, Jane. A couple of people asked me in the last few weeks about storm magic and weather magic. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, which seems a bit weird, being as all we've had is sun in the last few weeks. But it
might give us some storm magic.
Do you think it might bring a storm? If we think about it long enough. I think for me, one of the really, really important things is to connect with the energy of each day. And I do it every single morning. And I think it's important to connect with the energy of the day, but also to connect with the energy of the land that your house or home or wherever you are staying is on. I think it's really important to make that spirit of place connection, and that ties in with the weather, because if you're connecting with the energy of the day, then you are aware of the weather and what's happening around you. And although we have had a proper summer this year, I must admit, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, now there is that beginnings of that change in the air. Not that I'm wishing away the summer. Emma says, Uncle Paul found out that if you leave Haribo Fantastics in the car, they melt. Yeah, they will. It gets very, very hot on the dashboard in a car. Tangfastics. I knew what you meant, Emma. Yeah, jelly sweets. They melt in the car. As do a lot of other things. Candles, if you leave them on your windowsill in this heat, they will melt as well. It's the sun. It's powerful. Very, very powerful. Watch your crystal balls and your crystals hanging in your windows too, because they can create a line of fire. Basically, the crystals amplify the sun and they can set fire to things. So be careful with your crystals. But yeah, I think it's important to connect with the energy of the day. I think it's important to connect, therefore, with the weather. I think the whole being aware of the weather and predicting the weather is perhaps a lost art. When we relied on the land to provide our food, us personally, because obviously, hello, you're right. When we relied on the land and we were all working the land, you had to know what the weather was about to do. So you had to be able to notice the signs and feel the changes in the air to be able to predict it. And I'm assuming farmers these days still do, but I think it's a bit of a lost art, really. We don't really make that connection anymore. Sephora says, you guys still got a very hot summer. Yes, we do. It is pretty much just a summer. We're just not used to having it. But it is very warm still. Yes, good morning, Eric. You're right there. Would you like your blanket? Yeah. All right. Happy now? Yeah. Karen says, I set my grass on fire with a crystal ball once. Thought it would charge it up. Yeah, it's all it takes is a little bit of sun and a piece of glass, and you can set fire to glass. I'm laughing, but it's not funny, really. It's caused an awful lot of problems. It can be very dangerous. Xenia is about to fly to the UK, sitting at the airport. Hurrah! Yay! Safe flight. Yeah, Eric is washing his feet at the moment because that's what you do, apparently. Sue says, let's get some of these up. Sue says, give it a few weeks when we start to get our rain and the ground will be so dry we'll get local flooding. Yeah, we'll complain about that as well, because we do. Christine, just checked on our local forecast and apparently you have no rain for the next 2 weeks. My newly planted garden is dying rapidly. That's the thing, isn't it? My son and I took Eric for a walk yesterday afternoon once it had cooled down to the local park, and the grass was yellow, completely yellow right across the park. Not good, not good. But that's, it is about recognizing what's going to happen, feeling the energy in the air, really. Karen has had quite a bit of rain here. Okay. We could do with a little bit for the garden, would be nice. But we're having a shindig next weekend, so I don't want it to rain next weekend.
A shindig?
Got a whole pre-wedding shindig next weekend. Sue said, I did look on the local weather on my laptop the other day and it said skiing was good in Somerset. Not the obvious place for skiing. Jane, admit it, Xenia, you live in the UK and take your holidays in Germany. We're very pleased you're in the UK so much, Xenia. I think, though, if you are connecting with that daily energy, if you are making that connection with Mother Earth and what she's doing, you can figure that weather into your magical workings. And it's free. The weather is free. That energy is free and available for us to work with. If it's a beautiful, warm, sunny day, you can work with the male energy of the sun. And we talked about solar magic last week. The replay is on my Facebook page and it's on YouTube if you missed it or avoided it. If there's a raging storm outside, you can harness the powerful energy that it creates. And of course, all the variations in between. Question I am sometimes asked is controlling the weather. And I think that is a little bit of a tricky subject, and we'll deal with that one before we even start. Xenia, we had 35 degrees yesterday in Hamburg. Gladly today it's cooler after the rain. We have hit the 30s, which is a bit, we're not used to. Good morning, Lizzie. Good morning, Maria. Need to make a coffee. Oh, coffee sounds nice, Maria. Good morning, Charlotte. That was my husband sighing.
I'm just popping into the kitchen. Would you like anything while I'm in there?
Coffee would be lovely. What a nice surprise.
Coffee, you say? Oh.
Then it is tending the Spirit of Almond Camp and then a few days in London. Wish I could live there forever. You never know, Zenny, never know. Denise says the farmers would say if the sheep come off the moors fat at autumn, we're in for a bad winter. I have a whole list actually of sayings about the weather, and they're all based on observations. Christine has 17 degrees. I haven't looked what it is here today. It says 14 on my phone, but that's indoors, so you know. Maria, wrong emoji. It's tea. No, I don't want tea. I want coffee. Good morning, Ness. Although I've already spoken to Ness this morning. Good morning, Leslie. Karen, I like Fridays. I get coffee and a bacon butty. Perhaps I need to up my game here, Karen. Sephora says we've had lots of flooding here this winter in New Zealand, probably due to the big eruption of Honga Tonga. Oh, that's such a cool name. Apparently put 58,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools of seawater into the stratosphere. Wow, that kind of echoes how powerful Mother Nature is, doesn't it? So, just a white coffee for me, please. Now known as an Americano with milk. They've all got Ponzi names now, haven't they? Emma, I know when the storm is coming. Your hair gets frizzy. An old break in my ankle plays up. It's funny, isn't it, how your bones and your joints, your hair obviously, but your bones and your joints do pick up on it, don't they? It's weird. But yes, controlling the weather. Let's deal with that first. It is a tricky subject. We do have a weather witch within the Kitchen Witch Coven. Our lovely Josh is a master at weather. We did a water ritual once and it rained solidly for 3 weeks afterwards. So it's a subject that he is very well versed in. But there is that question, what gives you, me, anyone else, the right to interfere with Mother Nature and the weather that she brings? I might want a sunny day for my garden party next Saturday, thanks. But the local farmer may be desperate for rain to grow his crops. Who takes precedence? I think it's got to be the farmer and his crops, really, hasn't it? Because that's food. But only you can make that decision for yourself and whether your needs outweigh the others. That's up to you. It's up to you. Christine's going to go and play a drum and do a rain dance. Ness has had words with Joshua. Yeah, we could do some rain for the garden, but next Saturday needs to be clear, if that's all right with everyone. It is a tricky subject about whether we should be controlling the weather or not for our own requirements. Only you can make a decision on that one. There's lots of ways of working with weather magic, though, and there are some traditional the word's gone. Omens, superstitions, that's it. Brooms, your besom, makes an excellent weather wand, as do umbrellas. Open your umbrella to bring rain, close it to keep it away. Throw a broom up in the air to summon the winds. Burn the broom to stop the winds and then bury the ashes. Although that seems a bit wasteful of a broom, really. I'm not sure I'd do that. Charlie, just before a storm or sometimes big downpour, I get a headache. When the storm hits, the headache goes. Yeah, it's pressure, isn't it? You can feel it. Sephora, powerful is right. When Honga Tonga, I do like that name, erupted in Tonga, the shockwave hit our house in Tauranga. You have such fantastic place names. I hope everyone was safe. But that is power, isn't it? That is the power of Mother Nature and her weather. Holy stones, hagstones, tie them on a cord, whip it round in the air to calm the storms, mind the furniture, mind yourselves, and settle strong winds. So whipping it round on the end of a piece of string apparently does that, calms storms, settles winds. You can tie knots into cord with the intent of working weather magic. Cord magic covers a huge range of stuff, but I use them a lot for moon magic, but you can use the cord, tie the knots when you want to trap the weather basically in it. So when the weather's needed, untie the knots. So you might untie 1 knot for a breeze or light rain, untie 2 knots for a strong wind or steady rain, and 3 knots for a gale force wind or torrential rain. Obviously, you have to have that weather first to capture within the knots, but then you can hang on to it. And like now, you could undo it and release the weather. Get some of these comments. Oh, lots of comments. Christine says, what does it mean when the acorns that are tiny are all falling, and also the cob nuts are all falling? Bad times for the squirrels, I think. I think this heat wave has had an adverse effect on a lot of plants, hasn't it? I think we will be feeling the repercussions of that for some time yet. Jane, I don't think we can go far wrong with wanting rain. The universe will give us what we need, not what we think we want. Oh, it does, doesn't it? The universe is either a git or a total genius. What we want isn't always what we need. Sephora, red sky at night, shepherd's delight. Red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning. And that's true, isn't it? It is absolutely on the money. It works. And now I'm thinking about shepherd's pie, and now I'm hungry. Shepherd's pie is one of my favourites. Charlie, I love weather reading. My dad worked on a farm and was very accurate with his predictions for the weather. If you are out in nature, if you're working out in nature, if you rely on the land and the weather for your whole being, then I think you are far more in tune with it, aren't you? Maria, it's always windy in my parlour. It's thunder and lightning and rain that needs to break. It does. Claire, or be really specific and just get sun over your garden. That would be good. Rain for everywhere else, or rain the night before would be good, so the garden's all healthy. And then if just Saturday during the day next week could be sunny, that would be lovely. Thank you. Leslie, on drizzly days when it rains on and off, I will ask Mother Nature if she could please keep it dry till my washing dries. Yeah, there is that. I think we can ask for little things, aren't we? It would be quite nice if it was dry during the day and then just rained at night time. Would work, wouldn't it? Sephora just means lack of rain, but it does mean lack of rodents, so the bird population might swell. It's a knock-on effect, isn't it? It plays havoc with the whole lot. Maria, I saw a lot of small pine cones falling in Kew that were soft. Yeah, I think this weather has played absolute chaos with it. Emma, has anyone found that just thinking about a weather situation, be it rain or sun, that it just seems to happen? Happened to me once. Super sunny day, asked for rain, and then it downpoured. Oops. Yeah, we have had that at rituals when Josh has been involved. Sue, am I the only one to notice the trees are starting to shed their leaves already? Yes, I have noticed that. It's all, yeah. Mother Nature's menopausal drunk, both, definitely. Sasha, once you've tied the weather into the knots, do the knots have an expiry date, or can the knots be kept indefinitely until needed, maybe even for years? I've never kept them for years, but I have kept them for some time and they've always worked. There isn't, as far as I know, an expiry date. Someone else may have experienced that, but I've never kept them for years, so I don't know. But I have kept them for a long time and they've been fine. Jane, my nan always had a pine cone and a bit of seaweed on her scullery. Scullery, there's an old-fashioned word. Scullery window ledge. I know how to read a pine cone, but does anyone know how seaweed works? No, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Bit of seaweed. I have got seaweed in one of the books. Not that way. I always turn the wrong way because the camera's back. Seaweed. I've got seaweed in here. It's not called seaweed. It's called something else. It's the types of seaweed. Talk amongst yourselves while you're there. No, it's not under there. It's under types of seaweed, which I'm not going to be able to remember off the top of my head, am I? I'll look it up for you. I have got some information on seaweed. I will look it up for you. Let me write that down because I'll forget. Seaweed. There are lots. I've got lots of information on that. I will look it up for you and let you know. Christine, couldn't believe our neighbour has a brown lawn and he was out with his petrol mower. was it, much point? Oh, coffee. Yeah, it's a bit pointless mowing a brown lawn, isn't it? Sephora, beware of any Australian eucalyptus. They drop their branches when it's very dry. Oh, hence the nickname Widowmaker. Oh, yeah, I think I read something about that because they don't have they've not got enough water to supply their whole tree, so they drop branches. It's clever. Dangerous, but clever. Jill, we had an old lady farmer in the nursing home where I worked, and she heard frogs. She would say, we were in for some rain. First time I heard her say that, I just thought she was talking nonsense as she had dementia. Turns out she was right. When you can hear the frogs, it rains. That makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense to me. Hi, Ellie. Bladderwrack. Thank you, Jane. I haven't had my coffee yet. You can tell that, can't you? Bladderwrack. See, there it is. Carry a small piece of bladderwrack with you for protection on sea voyages. Use it in any kind of magic that requires the energy of the sea, obviously. Bladderwrack also works well in weather magic, especially when summoning up the winds. Also, add dried bladderwrack to your floor wash to bring in more money. Put a small piece under your doormat to bring money into the house too. Add medicine pouches and sachet powders to help increase your psychic abilities. So bladderwrack is about protection. Maybe that's why it was on the windowsill. It's also about money. Again, maybe that's why it was on the windowsill. And weather magic. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it. But it is very magical. It is very magical. Thank you for that. Sue, the way seaweed works, I thought something to do with feeling damp. If it rains on it, it'll get damp anyway. I bet it would be very smelly if you had damp pieces of seaweed on your windowsill, though. Good morning, Annette. Jill, ghost gums are the worst for that. The gums with white silver bark. You have some cool names for things. I do have a book for nearly every situation. Nearly every situation. If I haven't, I'm writing more. Janet, I always notice leaves on trees will turn over right before it rains. I've heard crows before it rains. My dad would call them rain crows. I like that. Maria's going to be summoning thunder. I can just imagine you there, throwing your arms up in the air, Maria. Let's have a look at some of these other ones. So sometimes the land is in desperate need for rain and you can work some magic to help it arrive. You can just literally stand outside and chant to the sky, asking it for rain. If you want to do a rain dance and you feel inspired to, you can do that as well. It's just a way of doing it. Of course, late to the parties, the canine overlords required walking. Jay, seaweed shrivels up when the air is dry, uncoils when air is damp before rain. Ah, there you go. It's a weather predicting thing. Excellent. But I think it would smell a bit if it was damp. Anyway, or another way of working with the weather, get a paper map, one of those old-fashioned paper maps that people don't have anymore. Lay it out in front of you. Sprinkle uncooked rice onto the areas that you would like it to rain upon. Rice is really good for bringing rain. Ask the gods, deity, the divine, or whoever you work with to bring rain to the identified areas. Be careful to request just enough rain and not too much. You don't want floods, unless that's what you're aiming for. But rice is really good. It's associated with bringing rain. So if you just sprinkle rice on the areas that you want it to rain, that should do the job. Try it. Let me know how you get on. The weather has a huge library full of folklore attached to it, and local areas will have their own local folklore as well. There's all sorts of things associated with different days, different dates. If November has thunder, there'll be a fertile year to come. Heavy snow in November will last until April. Fog in October means snow in the winter. They're all based on observations. Thunder on April Fool's Day will bring good crops of corn and hay. And a good word, a moist April brings a clear June. Lots and lots of stuff like that. That is folklore associated with the weather. That's really just taken from observations. So it all has some fact in it. Jill says, many moons ago, my brother went to scout camp, which was set up like an Indian camp. They did a rain dance for the parents and visitors, and it worked. Started to pour with rain. There you go. Sephora just had a massive storm when away in Wellington recently. They closed the airport so the baggage handlers who couldn't stand upright weren't blown into the jet engines. Wow. Friend's house was on seafront and wore a lot of salt water. Note to self, don't take pugs for a walk in strong winds. They look like they were to become tumbleweed. Oh, bless them. The energy was awesome but exhausting. Yes, I bet. We went to America many years ago to good old Orlando. Fantastic. But we were caught in a storm. They closed the Disney parks. It was that bad. Hurricane. Had to barricade ourselves in the hotels. As we were walking back to the hotel with all of our provisions, you could literally fall over, and the wind would keep you upright. It was that strong. Very, very scary. But that's the power of Mother Nature. Zenny, require not too much, only enough. Yeah, it's all about balance. It is. Oh, the world is out of balance completely. One day is too much heat and wildfires. The next day it's too much rain with flood. It is all completely crazy. Anna, good morning. Sorry for late join, had to do some shopping. Oh, you don't have to apologise. Having a rainy day here in Sweden. Perfect for today's talk. And the kids want to make cookies. Can't say no to that. I never say no to making cookies, ever. Jane, why didn't I think to use my rain stick? There you go. Because when I was a kid, we used to go stay in the south of France with family. My grandmother always said it would thunder on the 15th of August, and it always did. Wow. It is, folklore, all based on fact. So storms, let's look at storms, bring with them a huge, powerful punch of energy. So if there is a storm raging above you, take advantage of all that magic. Torrential rain, thunder, lightning can all be directed into all different kinds of spell work. Work your spell with the storm overhead if you can. Visualize the energy from nature being directed down into whatever magical working that you are using. If you feel brave enough and it's safe, you can stand outside in the storm, channel that energy through you. If you prefer to stay warm and dry, then do your magical working by a window so that you can see the storm. And obviously, it goes without saying, don't stand on top of a hill in a lightning storm, especially not with a tinfoil hat on. It's not advisable. But you can channel that energy into whatever it is you're working. It will give a huge boost. It's like tasering your spell work. So want a taser. Could think of so many uses for that. But that's what the storm energy is like. It's directing that huge jolt of power into your spell working. And it doesn't matter what it is you're working on, it will give it a huge boost of energy. It'll move it forward quicker. It'll give more power to make it work. If you don't have anything specific to work on when the storm is raging, you can save that energy. You can use knot work by tying it into knots in a cord. You can collect rainwater during a storm and label it specifically as stormwater because it will be much more charged than rainwater. And I'm aware that the grammar on that was terrible. It will be supercharged rainwater and will have so much power to it. You can save it for later and add it to spell work to bring that energy to it. It's about working and directing that power into it, but also saving it if you can't use it on that particular day. Emma says, I love the rain, but we get terrible flooding at the bottom of the hill we're on. Tends to make the river swell and goes over the main road leading out the area where I live. That's the thing. It's too much, isn't it? We're back to balance again. If you get too much of it, it can cause chaos. Good morning, Andrea. Because I suppose getting struck by lightning would really be channeling. It really would, but not advisable. Sorry. Dog wants his blanket. There you go. All right.
He's just had his breakfast. He should
just
be
had your breakfast. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, not advisable to get struck by lightning. Maria, this morning's chat was some on the rain. That's fine, as long as it's dry for next Saturday. Jill, is it good to charge crystals when it's stormy? Absolutely. I would be selective which ones that I wanted to charge. If you've got something like rose quartz, which is a calming, love, friendship type of crystal, I wouldn't put that out in a storm. But if you've got something, clear quartz would be brilliant to charge under a storm. Any of those crystals that are more robust, yes, definitely put them out in the storm to charge. But be guided by your intuition about which ones need it or would prefer it. No rain above the camps, Enya. We'll do our best. What's the matter? You're not getting any attention? Or is your blanket not quite right? Christine said, a Gurkha friend of mine got a lightning bolt hit him. Ouch. He was then put on a stretcher and taken to hospital. While they were carrying him, he got another lightning bolt in the face. Wow, he has a permanent scar. Do you think some people are susceptible to getting hit? It sounds like it, doesn't it? I don't know, maybe because he'd already been hit. Maybe you've got that charge and it's physics. It's not my area of expertise. But very unlucky. Charlie, whilst in India in monsoon, I experienced warm rain for the first time. The roads were really bad, so I was wading in warm puddles while I was being rained on in the heat. English body brain was boggled, I bet. Bet. Claire, can you leave a sealed jar of water out to charge? Oh, in storms, yes. Just as you would with your moon water. You can, absolutely. I tend to leave an empty jar if it's raining, because you're collecting the actual rainwater, which is purer than most tap water and things like that anyway. But it'll give you that added energy from the rain as well. But absolutely, you can leave a sealed jar of water out as you would with your moon water, and it will become storm water. Coffee. Who are the storm gods, says Sephora. Depends what pantheon you're working with. Most pantheons have a storm god of some sort, don't they? Thor. He's one of the storm gods, the one that springs to mind anyway. But most pantheons have them, don't they? Varying. Most of them will have someone that deals with storms and thunder and lightning. It'll depend where they are, what pantheon they are. But yeah, most pantheons have got one. So rain we talked about. Are you going to sing all the way through this? Rain we talked about. Very soothing and hypnotic, I think, the sound of rain. Nice if you're actually dressed for it and out in it, particularly if you're doing something like walking on the seafront. Lovely to do that. But it's very refreshing, it's cleansing, it's purifying. And that's the magic that rainwater brings with it. It's also linked to your emotions. So if you connect with it and allow the water to literally wash over you, it can help bring clarity, relief, purification. It can release all of that negative energy. For me, it's being on the seafront. And then you've got the magic of the ocean in front of you as well. Combination of elements. The first spring rain is thought to be especially magical. Place a container outside in the spring at the spring equinox to collect the first rain. Use the rainwater to bathe in for a whole year of luck and happiness, apparently. Wash your face in it to bring youth and beauty. No, disclaimer there. Don't come back to me if it doesn't work. I'm just quoting folklore. Wash your hair in the first spring rains to keep romance alive, and sprinkle the water around your home for good luck and abundance. I'm guessing the folklore to that is that spring is all about new growth and new beginnings, so it carries that magic with it. Let's go through some of these. Oh, well, that would make sense, Jane, wouldn't it, if Christine's friend had any metal rods or plates in his body that may have attracted the lightning. Jill was driving a car that was struck by lightning, thankfully. Oh, that must have been really scary. Maharet, I love working with Sukar when summoning storms or lightning. Perfect. Janet, has anyone ever seen bald lightning? Many years ago, one came through our dining room window, 1978. I was 10 then. No, I've not knowingly seen bald energy. Emma, is it possible to rain fish? Yeah, Red Dwarf thinking here. I'm with you on that one, Emma. Dwarfer here, dwarfer. I believe it was actually based on a story, yes, that it did actually rain fish somewhere. Eric's really taking all this in. He does. He will sit there till I'm finished. Jane says, Eric's trying to send thoughts into my head. Yeah. He talks to me, but he'll bark. He's gone to sleep now. All right. Jane, fish can get sucked up by twisters and then dumped somewhere else. Yes, I've heard that. I have heard that. Senia, I want to meet Eric one day. He didn't really like people. We're working on it. Where he was, we don't know how he was treated when he was very young. When he came to us, he was terrified of children because they'd been throwing him around. He's a little bit wary of new people. So we're working on it. We are working on it. So rain. Rain is really useful and you can work with it in all sorts of ways. But think about what water does in that it's cleansing, purifying, refreshing. You can do it yourself in the shower every morning. Visualize that water cleansing and refreshing. But if you can get out in the rain, it's definitely an experience. And if you collect rainwater, you can use it for the same magical purposes, the whole cleansing, purifying thing. Zephora says rain gives us rainbows. It does. And you can work rainbow magic too. Beautiful, beautiful rainbows. You can actually save rainbow magic. You can save rainbow energy. Difficult to actually pick it, cut it, dry it, bottle it, but it can be used in magic. There are even one or two rainbow deities. The Greek goddess Iris, the rainbow serpent, who's the creator in the dreaming from Aboriginal beliefs, as I understand it. And in Norse mythology, Midgard or Earth and Asgard, home of the gods, is connected by means of the Bifrost, which is a burning rainbow bridge. So rainbow features quite a lot in mythology and in the gods, and it is very magical. Looks magical, let's face it. It is all about reflection, refraction, and disbursement of light in water droplets. Bit of science for you this early in the morning. When the sunlight beams down, it appears to be white, even though it's actually made up of different colours. We don't usually see them, but the beam of light hits raindrops on the way down. And if it hits them at a specific angle, the different colours that make up the beam separate to form a rainbow. I'm going to test you on this later. Rainbows caused by sunlight always appear in a section of the sky directly opposite the sun. There are supposedly 7 colours of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. Richard of York gave battle in vain, and that's still the way that I remember it. I learned that at school. Apparently the colours were suggested by Sir Isaac Newton. I'm not going to argue with him. And 7, of course, is a magical number as well. And the colours can obviously be used with colour magic. You can also sing the rainbow. I am not going to sing the rainbow. much to my husband's relief. But you can sing the sound of each colour to work with your spells. So red is do, orange is re, yellow mi, do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, following the 7 colours of the rainbow. You can sing them all to bring rainbow magic, or you can sing individual ones to bring the specific colours. And of course, they reflect the chakras as well, with the 7 colours, the 7 main chakras. So rainbows bring the magic of water, of rain, they bring the magic of sunlight, and they bring the magic of colour. So you've got a huge package of magic there. And because the rainbow usually appears during the rain, just after the rain, so it brings hope, promise, and healing as well. With the combination of water and sun energy, I think it works on a really strong emotional level too. And because the rainbow appears to be a connection between the earth, that's the earth, and the sky, or the divine, I think it works really well for spirit or deity magic as well. And of course, the rainbow has also been used as a symbol of diversity. So I think it makes perfect sense that it brings together all of the colours to make something beautiful. So it can work magic for strength, resilience, cooperation, acceptance, and harmony. Rainbow magic, it covers so many things. And I think because the rainbow includes all the colours, and we often see children love to draw rainbows, don't they? I think it brings the magic of creativity and inspiration as well, and that kind of tapping into your inner child. Did you know folklore says it is bad luck to actually point at the rainbow? Remember that next time. To harness that energy, you could work your magic whilst looking at the rainbow, whether you're outside or looking at it from through your window. But you can also harness that energy. Place your magical tools, place your jar of water at the end of the rainbow. Obviously, not the actual end of the rainbow, because you'd be looking forever. But if you can see it in your garden, if you can see it in your window, and position your magical tools, your crystals, your jar of water, just where the rainbow sort of tips into it, you can actually cleanse them, charge water with rainbow magic, cleanse your crystals with rainbow magic, just so if you can get it where it looks like the rainbow is heading into it. You can also take a photo of rainbow and use it in magical blessings, magical workings, just by using that image. So rainbow magic is a huge thing to tap into. I'm waffling on then and missed all the comments. Xenia, I do the cleansing, purifying shower magic regularly. Love it. It's such a straightforward one to do, isn't it? Cos, yeah, we could work with rainbow energy with the chakras. They absolutely do match up. Xenia, I would love to know how other animals see rainbows, droplets, and other things with their different or better eyes. I don't know. It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? And also, how do you know? How do we know how animals see things? That question bugs me quite a lot. Sephora, the snowflake can be affected by your energy. Japanese scientists photographed after being with people happy, sad, angry, etc. And they changed. There's been a lot of research done on water as well, and promoting that water retains our energy or picks up on our emotions and our feelings. Emma, I've been at the end of a rainbow before. It's sad to say no pot of gold. No leprechauns either, I'm guessing. Jane, rainbows always make me think of happy endings. Definitely. It is a happy thing, isn't it? Xenia loves rainbows too. There is something very joyful about a rainbow. Cause could also work with rainbows and rainbow bridge to connect with those that have passed over. Absolutely. There's the connotation of a rainbow bridge when pets are passed. Yes, absolutely. It is a connection, and it's connection with the gods. So the Norse gods have the rainbow bridge to connect between the two worlds. So absolutely. Claire, is that a special coffee made inspire you to sing? No, nothing would inspire me to sing. You do not want to hear my singing voice. Xenia, lots of questions bug me a lot. For example, what's inside a black hole? Well, that is real physics. I don't know, is the answer. Lots of black. Christine, apparently dogs can only see yellow and blue. They used a dog's eye organs to see what they could see. Oh, that's gross. But interesting. I think I'd read somewhere that dogs couldn't see all of the colours that we see. Interesting. I wonder whether that affects the toys that dogs use. Okay, we're on to other stuff now. Right. I did talk about snowflakes. I have got some snow. It sounds weird talking about snow magic when it's boiling hot, but let's talk about that. Snow and ice are really incredible to work magic with. Now, where I live, we don't tend to get a lot of snow. We're right by the ocean. We're right the other side of a big hill, so we don't get an awful lot of snow and ice. And I must admit, I am a little bit thankful. I love snow and I love the idea of it, but it's not practical for walking in, for driving in. So until we can actually deal with it properly, I'm quite thankful for that. But basically, snow and ice are variations of frozen water. So it carries all the magical properties that water does, such as healing, cleansing, purifying. It's also a very feminine energy. But because they are water in a transformed state, they also bring the energy of transformation. I can't believe how much science I've talked about this morning. When you collect your snow, you'll also change the energy. So, for instance, if you scoop up a handful of the white stuff, when fresh snow has laid, when that land is still silent, it's got such a special sound and feeling, hasn't it? When you come out in the morning and the snow's just laid and it's still and silent. If you scoop up some of that snow, it's brilliant for working to calm tempers and to soothe situations. It brings that peace and that calm with it. If you collect snow during a raging blizzard, then it will pack a huge, powerful punch of energy. Think about the weather and what it's actually doing at the time and what energy that's bringing with it. If you're tempted out into the snow, and once you've finished your snowball fight, build a snowman. Think about it. A figure shaped from snow. Does it remind you of anything? How about a large snow puppet? Build him in, or her, in by your front gate and charge him with protection duty. We're going to get all sorts of, that would be good, wouldn't it? A cool puppet snowman with, big cross eye, big button, stake through the heart. No, let's not go there. Sometimes I wonder where outer space ends, and if it does, what's on the other side of it. We are getting a little bit, this is, I don't have those answers. I don't have a lot of answers. Sephora, no snow here, but I love the diamonds of frost. It's just beautiful. You can work magic with frost as well. It has very similar properties to snow. Christine, as long as the snow is not yellow, don't touch the yellow snow. Sephora, magic is watching dogs in the snow. Eric hasn't experienced snow, have you? He doesn't like going out in the rain, so I doubt he'll go out in the snow. Claire, steam freezes faster than water. Interesting. Always thought that was interesting. Science is interesting, and I have this question a lot. I think science and magic go hand in hand. I don't think there is any separation. I don't think because you are a scientist that you can't then work magic. I think magic and science work brilliantly together. That's just random. That's not got anything to do with the weather magic. I was just sharing that. If you want to get rid of a bad habit, a bad feeling, or even a person, bury them in the snow. No, don't do that because the snow melts and then they'd find the body. If you want to get rid of them from your life, the general idea to write their name or the thing that you want to banish on a slip of paper, pop it in the freezer. But if you've got snow, you can work this spell using snow instead. You can bury the piece of paper with the name on it, or you can write the name or the word in the snow. And as the snow melts, it takes away the item with it. You can also write your wishes and your goals in the snow. As it melts, your intent is released into the universe. Maria, yellow snow means that somebody or something has peed on it, yes. So avoid the yellow snow. Because if you go out in -40, won't be doing that. You can throw boiling water in the air and it freezes on the spot, making snow. You can also blow bubbles and watch them freeze. Done both in northern Finland in January. That's cold. That's very, very cold. Sephora, like Lake Mead, the water's going and they keep finding bodies. Yeah, don't put them in the snow. Or if you're going to put them in the water, put them somewhere really deep. Emma, our cat Lucy used to enjoy trying to catch snowflakes. She reminded me of the joy and fun of being young in the snow. It brings that kind of feeling with it, doesn't it? It brings that inner child thing. Jane, if you put your bare hands and feet in the snow for as long as you can bear, you will never get chilblains again. I have heard that folklore as well. I don't know whether it works, but I have heard that one. Another way to get rid of bad habits or emotions is to dump those feelings into a snowball. Make yourself snowball, send all those negative feelings into it and throw it away from you as far as you can. Not a little girly throw. You want a proper, lob it kind of throw. And if the snow outside is quiet and peaceful, that perfect stillness, just enjoy it. Just go outside, wrap up, go outside for a bit and allow your mind to clear and then see what messages come to you. If you're in that kind of stillness where the snow is just laid and it's quiet and it's peaceful, it can open you up to messages from the divine, messages from spirit, wherever you get your messages from. It's got that kind of stillness that will open you up to it. Collect a jar of snow. And once it's melted, you can use it as snow water. And you can use it for all of the things we've just talked about for snow. It carries those transformation properties with it. And the same can be done with ice or icicles. Pop them in a jar, let them melt, and then you have got snow and ice water, which you can use for all sorts of magical purposes. Basically, both ice and snow will eventually melt. And in doing so, they can take negative energy with them as they do so, cleansing, purifying as they go. And of course, it is compulsory to lie down in the ground and make snow angels. It's just, you have to. I think it's the law or something. If I'd have guessed for someone to say that, I knew it would have been you, Maria. Throw it at the person making you feel all the negative feelings. You can do that too. Savora, fog is amazing. We sometimes get Wuthering Heights days and we get visited by owls. I think fog is fascinating. When we get fog here, we always call it Sherlock Holmes fog because it looks like the Victorian London fog that we used to get. But again, you can work magic with that. Fog it hides things. So you can work with fog to make things invisible or work with it as it clears to reveal the truth. Janet, one winter on my way to work, my coffee flew out of my hand and froze before it hit the ground. That's cold. That's very cold. Christine, I love seeing all the animal and bird prints when it snowed. Yes, that's nature showing signs of itself, isn't it? That's brilliant. When fog rolls off the sea, it's very cool. Fog is quite mystical stuff, isn't it? How you've got the mists of Avalon, haven't you? It conjures up that whole mystery thing. Thinking about the animals and the bird prints, they are associated quite often with weather and with predicting the weather. Animals in particular. Cat sneezing is said to forecast rain. If a sheep heads up to the top of the hills and then they separate, you can expect the weather to be good. When cows lie down, obviously, it indicates rain. I've known that one since I was a child. Bats flying around late in the evening indicates good weather will follow. I would actually assume that one means that there's lots of insects flying about for them to eat. it's just one of those things, isn't it? I think that's fact becoming folklore, because that's what it is. If the pigs start gathering leaves and straw, then you can expect a cold winter. Obviously, you have to have pigs to be able to work with that one. And I have before now. Lived and worked on a pig farm back in my youth. Would love pigs now. Garden's not big enough. Eric would not be impressed. And birds too. The flight and behaviour of the birds can be used for foretelling the future. That's a whole other subject. But also to predict the weather. Generally, if the birds are flying high up in the sky, then the weather is fair. But if they detect a storm coming, they'll take refuge on land. I noticed that where we are, because we are about a 5-minute drive from the sea. And if the seagulls come inland, we know that the weather out on the sea is a little bit choppy. Birds will also tend to become silent before a storm too. So birds singing in the rain indicates good weather is on the way. Single crow flying alone is a sign of bad weather. 2 flying together signals fine weather. Rooster that crows before bed indicates he will rise to wet weather. There's lots. There's loads and loads of folklore that's all kind of based on watching, on paying attention. And I think that's probably a big part of the craft anyway, isn't it? Is paying attention to nature, paying attention to the animals, the plants. If you connect with all the energy on a daily basis, if you watch what's happening in nature outside of you, then that's where the magic happens, and where you get an understanding of the magic as well. Comments, Megan, first time watching, very interesting. Thank you, Megan. Be back to watch next time you're on. I'm on every Friday morning, pretty much. The last Friday of the month, this month, I won't be, because I will be at the Artemis Gathering, depending on what time we leave. But generally here, every Friday morning. Replays can be found on my YouTube channel and my Facebook page for previous talks. There's about 2.5 years worth of them. So, Emma, fog could also be used to conceal things. Yes, it's about hiding things, isn't it? And it's about invisibility. But then you can work with it to reveal the truth as well. Sephora, I love seeing horses when they get the wind up their tails. They do zoomies, yes, like the dog does. I do like zoomies. Oh, yeah, Xenia gives me the Fog movie vibes. When I was a teenager, I read The Fog. I couldn't read it at night time. I had to read it during the day because it was so creepy. Jane, if a cat sneezes in our house, it means I've just moved something and stirred up a load of dust. It's predicting still, see? Sephora, birds become silent before an earthquake too. Interesting. Maria, cows lie down before the rain. That's an old one, isn't it? I can remember being told that one when I was a child. Xenia, yes, birds want to shelter from rain too, and rain and storm can even be dangerous to small singing birds and small dogs whose blanket's fallen on the floor. That was his whining because the blanket fell on the floor. Yeah. Such a princess. Bless him. So I think about the big things, but think about smaller things too. So after the rain, you get puddles. Puddles can be found anywhere where it's rained. Could be a muddy puddle in the middle of the woods, could be an oily puddle in the center of the city. Either way, they provide a good reflective surface. So they are brilliant to scry with. Take a moment to ground and center yourself, then slightly unfocus your eyes and gaze across the top of the puddle. If you've got a question, you can ask it. Otherwise, just ask what wisdom the water has for you. See what images you can find on the surface of the water. It works really well if the puddle has leaves or an oily surface, as that provides a little bit of movement on the top. But scrying with puddles is great fun, and it's really easy to do. And that's weather, providing another magical tool for you. It can all be used, no matter what the weather is, it can all be used. Wind, we haven't really particularly talked about. Storms, yes, but wind, you can stand in the wind and allow that wind to cleanse and purify and release If you're working with any spell work and you've got dried herbs with it, you can throw them into the wind and let the wind take them away and work the magic. All of the weather, whatever it might be, can be used for working magic. Good morning, Eve. Jane says the cows, sometimes they lie down because they're fed up with standing all day. Yeah, I don't blame them either. I really don't blame them. Maria says, seen it many times before rain. Yeah, all of these folklore things are based on some kind of fact with people observing what happens. Jill, have a pigeon nesting in a hanging basket. Oh, bless it. I was so worried about her and a chick during a stormy night. I almost went outside and brought them inside. They survived the storm and are doing fine. Oh, bless. We do get pigeons in our garden. They haven't nested, though. Yes, wise advice for always scatter Grandad's ashes on a still day. Yes. Wise advice. Wise advice. Yeah, Emma, don't throw the herbs to the wind if it's blowing in your direction. But then the winds, the directions of the wind all have their own magical properties too. So if the wind's a north wind or an east wind or a south wind or west wind, they all carry the different energies of those different directions with them. So that takes it even deeper into working magic, because each direction of wind brings its own magical properties with it as well. It's fascinating. I encourage you to connect with the energy outside every day. Just step outside in the morning, or even just open the window and connect with the energy of the day. Sometimes you might get words, sometimes you might get feelings about what you need to do for the day. You might get some wisdom, some insight, but it also helps you connect with the weather. And when whatever the weather is doing, have a think about how you can incorporate that into your magic. It all adds layers of power to your spell work. And the weather is there, provided by Mother Nature, to help us. And it's free to tap into. So, fascinating subject, fantastic to work with. I do have a book on it, obviously. Working with weather and all of the nature things is in the Witchcraft Into the Wilds book, which is...
Got you on the front.
Got me on the front. Where is it? There it is. That one. All of working with weather, with working with storm, with working with... This book covers everything that Mother Nature provides. There's no crystals. There's no magical tools. Everything in here can be found in nature to work with. And yes, there is me on the front. But it's all in there if you want further information on it. Have a fantastic weekend, people. Oh, Christine, thanks to the ladies who said chilies to stop the cat pooping in the new garden. Worked so far. Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Karen. Yes, weather, work with it, do it. Whatever it's doing, see how you get on with it. It's fascinating to work with. And I will... Hello, are you going to say goodbye to people? Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. I will hopefully see you all next Friday. Have a fantastic weekend, whatever you're doing. Eric says goodbye too. Thank you, everyone, as always, for joining me. Have a fab weekend.